Most men don't realize this, but when a woman never calls or texts you first, she's already telling you how she sees the connection. It's subtle, but it's powerful. Her silence is communication. And if you ignore it, you end up chasing a woman who isn't giving you anything to work with. That is the quickest way to lose your confidence without even noticing it happen. Let's talk about why this topic matters. A lot of men believe they have to be the one who always starts the conversation. They think it's normal for a woman to lean back and wait. They think it shows leadership. But what actually happens is very different. When you're always the one reaching out, you create a pattern where she expects your effort but never mirrors it. You start investing more, she starts investing less, and eventually you find yourself trying to prove your value to someone who doesn't feel the need to show interest on her end. This creates a frustrating cycle for men. You keep talking. She keeps responding, but only when you message her. You assume that means she's into you. It feels like things are going somewhere, but in reality, you're carrying everything. The moment you stop initiating, the entire connection collapses, and that's when you finally realize the truth. She was never choosing you. She was just accepting your attention. Now that we've opened this up, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you being here, because this conversation is one every man needs to hear at some point. Today, we're going to talk about what her lack of effort really means, why it happens, and what you should do when you're always the one starting everything. Once you understand this, you'll see the situation in a completely different way. This video will help you stop wasting energy and start protecting your value. 1. She likes you less than you think. A lot of men misunderstand what a woman's silence actually means. When she never calls or texts you first, most guys try to explain it away. They tell themselves she is shy, or she doesn't want to bother them, or she expects the man to take the lead. These ideas feel comforting, but they are rarely true. When a woman genuinely likes a man, she finds small ways to show it. She doesn't stay silent for days. She doesn't wait for him to always start everything. Her interest naturally pushes her to reach out, even if it's something simple. Think about a moment where you were talking to a woman you really liked. You didn't need to force yourself to message her. You didn't sit there thinking about playing it cool. The excitement made you want to reach out. That is how attraction works for both sides. When she wants you, she feels a pull toward you. When she doesn't reach out at all, that pull is weak or completely missing. This is hard for men to accept, but it is also the most freeing thing once you understand it. Here is something many men go through without calling it by name. You're messaging a woman consistently. She replies. Sometimes she laughs at your jokes. Sometimes she even seems warm. But the moment you stop texting first, everything freezes. Hours turn into days. Days turn into silence. Suddenly you realize the entire connection was being held up by your effort alone. She wasn't building anything with you. She was simply reacting to what you gave her. This is why it is so important to look at what she does, not what she says. A woman can enjoy talking to you without actually wanting you. She can like the attention without liking you as a man, and that difference matters. If she never initiates, she is comfortable receiving your energy without having to return it. She knows you will show up whether she does or not. When a woman feels that secure without contributing anything, her attraction stays flat. It never grows. Understanding this isn't about blaming her. It's about waking up to reality, so you stop trying to fix something that isn't broken. It's simply not there. When she doesn't put in effort, it just means you're not a priority to her right now. And the moment you finally accept that, you stop chasing fantasies and start protecting your value. That is where everything begins to change. 2. Stop chasing and watch what happens. You stop chasing completely. Not as a trick, not as a strategy. You stop because the connection is supposed to be balanced. Communication is supposed to flow both ways. Effort is supposed to be mutual. When she shows you no energy, your job is not to compensate for it. Your job is to match it. If she puts in zero effort, you put in zero effort. It is that simple. When you stop initiating, something interesting happens. You finally see the truth. If she likes you, she steps forward. She starts showing up in small ways. She sends a message. She checks on you. She tries to reconnect because she actually cares about the interaction. When a woman is genuinely attracted, silence from you doesn't create distance. It creates curiosity. She feels the difference and responds to it. If she doesn't like you, she disappears. And as painful as that realization may feel in the moment, it actually saves you. It saves your time, your energy, and your confidence. You no longer waste effort on someone who is never planning to invest in you. You stop chasing a version of her that didn't exist. Men often think chasing will convince a woman to like them. But the truth is that real attraction doesn't need convincing. It just needs space to reveal itself. When you stop chasing, you stop forcing things. You allow her behavior to show you exactly where she stands. And that clarity is what puts you back in control of your energy and your emotions. 3. Her effort reveals her true interest. One of the biggest mistakes men make in dating is ignoring effort. They listen to words. They pay attention to compliments. They notice when a woman responds politely. But they overlook the one thing that actually exposes how she feels. Her effort. You learn more about a woman by what she does than by anything she could ever tell you. And when she never calls or texts you first, her level of interest becomes very clear. Effort is the purest form of communication and attraction. It doesn't hide behind nice replies or emojis. It doesn't get influenced by politeness. It comes from desire. When a woman wants a man, she puts in energy without being pushed. She initiates sometimes. She finds reasons to talk to him. She remembers small things. She shows up, even if she's busy, even if she has a lot going on. When she values you, you feel her presence without needing to chase it. But when her interest is low, her effort disappears. Not because she's trying to hurt you. Not because she's playing some deep psychological game. Simply because you're not a priority in her mind. And this is where many men get confused. They mistake her consistency in responding for genuine interest. She replies because she's comfortable, not because she's invested. She will talk to you, but she will not pursue you. She will accept your attention, but she will not match it. This is why effort matters. It shows direction. A woman who never initiates is not moving toward you. She's standing still, waiting to see what you will continue offering. And if you keep offering without limits, she remains exactly where she is. Not because she's malicious, but because you're not giving her a reason to do anything different. Men often think attraction is built by doing more. In reality, it grows when both people contribute naturally. When both people take steps toward each other. When both people show curiosity and interest. If that balance isn't there, you end up building the entire connection by yourself. And that never leads to anything stable or fulfilling. Looking at effort doesn't just help you understand her. It helps you understand yourself. It keeps you grounded. It prevents you from overinvesting in someone who isn't choosing you. And it helps you avoid the emotional exhaustion that comes from chasing a woman who has already made her decision through her lack of action. Effort reveals everything. If she gives none, you have your answer. 4. You're rewarding her lack of investment. When a woman never reaches out first, and you continue giving her attention, you create a pattern without realizing it. You're rewarding behavior that shows no interest. The more you do it, the more she gets used to the idea that you'll always be there regardless of what she contributes. And once she becomes comfortable with that dynamic, her motivation to put in effort drops even lower. This is where many men trap themselves. They believe being consistent means showing up no matter what. They believe loyalty means proving themselves even when the woman hasn't earned that level of devotion. They believe patience will eventually pay off. But in dating, consistency only has value when it's mutual. Loyalty only matters when both sides care. Patience only works when the woman is actually trying. When you reward her lack of investment, you unintentionally teach her something about you. You show her that she doesn't need to try. You show her that she can avoid initiating and you'll still pursue her. You show her that you don't require respect or interest from her to keep giving your energy. And once she sees that, she puts you in a category most men never escape. The category of men who try harder than she feels they deserve. The deeper issue is that this shifts your mindset without you noticing. You start believing that if you stop initiating, she'll disappear. And because you fear losing her, you double down on your effort. You think you're strengthening the connection, but what you're actually doing is lowering your own standards. You're becoming the emotional giver while she becomes the emotional taker. This doesn't mean she's a bad person. It simply means you're not holding your ground. You're not showing her that you value reciprocity. You're not letting her feel the difference when she doesn't contribute. Instead of allowing her to step up, you continue stepping forward for both of you. And that removes the pressure for her to do anything different. Healthy attraction needs space for both people to invest. It needs room for her to choose you instead of just receiving you. If she never initiates and you continue rewarding her silence with attention, you remove that space completely. You end up working for something she hasn't shown she wants. The moment you stop rewarding her lack of effort, the dynamic shifts. She either starts contributing or she fades out. And either outcome gives you clarity. It protects your emotional energy. It aligns your actions with your self-respect. And it prevents you from staying stuck in a one-sided connection that drains you more than it builds you. 5. Pull back and let her show her cards. When a woman never calls or texts first, one of the most powerful moves you can make is to step back. Not as a game, not as a trick, but as a natural way to reveal her true intentions. When you pull back, you give her space to either show real interest or confirm that she isn't willing to invest. This is the moment where clarity emerges, and it's often more revealing than any conversation could be. Imagine you've been the one starting every conversation for weeks. You've been checking in, making plans, and keeping the connection alive. You notice she responds when you reach out, but she never initiates. One day, you decide to stop sending the first message. At first, it feels strange. There's a tension in the air. You might even feel anxious. But then something important happens. She notices the absence of your effort. She feels the difference. And that difference prompts a reaction. She either reaches out because she cares, or she stays silent because she isn't invested. This is the point where men often learn the hard truth. Pulling back doesn't guarantee she will chase you. In fact, in many cases, she won't. And that is exactly the lesson you need. If she doesn't make an effort, it's a clear signal that the connection isn't balanced. She is comfortable letting you carry it, and that shows where her priorities lie. Accepting this frees you from wasting time on someone who won't match your energy. Pulling back also changes your own mindset. Instead of constantly measuring her value by her responses, you measure it by your own standards. You stop bending yourself to maintain her attention. You reclaim your energy, your confidence, and your focus. You become a man who is selective with his time and effort. 6. Your presence has become too predictable. When a woman never calls or texts first, one reason is often that your presence has become predictable. You're always available, always initiating, and always showing up. This consistency might feel like reliability to you, but to her, it can signal a lack of urgency or challenge. Women are naturally drawn to men who have their own lives, priorities, and unpredictability. When everything about you is predictable, it reduces excitement and makes it easy for her to take you for granted. Being predictable doesn't mean being unreliable or flaky. It means that your patterns are too familiar. She knows she can wait for you to message her, and she doesn't feel the need to take initiative. That predictability removes tension, curiosity, and the spark that comes from uncertainty. When she doesn't have to wonder where you are or whether you'll reach out, her interest naturally stabilizes at a low level. She's comfortable with the situation, but not invested emotionally. Breaking predictability isn't about playing games or being distant for no reason. It's about creating space in your own life that makes you less accessible in a healthy, confident way. Focus on your goals, hobbies, and friendships. Be fully present in your own world. When a woman senses that you have your own energy, your own rhythm, and your own priorities, she begins to see your value differently. You're no longer just a source of constant attention. You become someone worth noticing and pursuing. Another aspect of predictability is emotional availability. If you've been too accommodating or always responsive, she has little incentive to step forward. When you take small steps back, reduce the constant messaging, and let her initiative feel meaningful, you create a subtle but powerful shift. She starts to wonder, to think, and possibly to act in ways she didn't before. That's the moment attraction grows naturally without you forcing it. 7. Only give energy to women who match you. At this point, it's time to reflect honestly on your own behavior. Too many men spend their energy chasing women who never match it. You may have noticed a pattern. You're always initiating, always following up, always showing interest, while she rarely makes the first move. That pattern doesn't just drain you, it also signals to her that your time and attention are unlimited, which is the exact opposite of attraction. The truth is, men often allow this dynamic to continue because they fear losing her. They think if they stop, she'll disappear. But here's a reality check. If she truly valued you, she wouldn't wait for constant prompting. She would invest naturally. She would contribute equally. And when she doesn't, it's not a failure on your part. It's a signal to wake up and protect your energy. You need to start giving your attention and effort selectively. Match her energy. If she initiates, responds thoughtfully, or shows genuine interest, reciprocate. If she doesn't, step back. This doesn't mean you act cold or punitive. It means you maintain your dignity and self-respect. You are not responsible for creating her desire or sustaining her interest. Your job is to give your energy where it is valued and appreciated. Here's the constructive part for men. It requires self-awareness. You must notice your patterns of overinvestment and catch yourself before you fall into the trap again. This takes discipline. It takes courage to stop chasing. But it's worth it because it changes the entire dynamic. When you only give energy to women who match it, you automatically elevate your value. You signal that you are a man who respects himself, who won't be taken for granted, and who expects mutual effort in a connection. The results are clear. Women notice when a man isn't always available. They respond differently when your attention is earned, not given freely. You stop feeling anxious about her actions because your focus is on your own standards, not her approval. And if a woman disappears because she isn't willing to meet you halfway, you gain clarity and freedom rather than wasting time and emotional energy. Here's a hard truth that most men avoid facing. If she never calls or texts you first, she doesn't see you as a priority, and no amount of chasing will change that. Accepting this reality is uncomfortable, but it's also empowering. Once you stop overextending yourself, stop rewarding one-sided effort, and start matching energy only where it's reciprocated, you reclaim control of your time, your emotions, and your self-respect. You stop wasting months on someone who will never meet you halfway. The key is clarity. Stop guessing, stop rationalizing, and stop bending yourself to maintain her attention. Pull back. Step into your life. Focus on your goals, your passions, and the women who naturally invest in you. That doesn't mean you play games. It means you value yourself enough to let actions speak louder than words. When a woman genuinely cares, she will step forward. When she doesn't, you're free to walk away without regret. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you been in a situation where you were always the one initiating while she never reached out first? How did it make you feel, and what did you do about it? Share your experiences in the comments. I'll read them, respond, and we'll discuss real strategies that actually work. Conversations like this help men see the truth and take action. Remember, attraction works both ways. If she never takes the first step, it's not your job to create her desire. It's your job to protect your energy and recognize who deserves it. Stop chasing illusions and start focusing on reality. Once you do, everything changes.